All right, everyone. Looks like we're good to get started. Javier, thanks for taking the time to join us. As previously mentioned, if anyone has a question, use the hand raise function. We're going to go ahead and get started in English before moving into Spanish. So we'll get started with a couple questions in English. The first question will go to Scott French. Scott, your line is unmuted.
Hi, Javier.
Hi.
You're going into your first Classico with LAFC, and I'm wondering, what are the feelings like going into it, and how much does the circumstance that you're playing in Orlando, that Carlos is not going to be a part of this game, that there are not going to be the fans that have so much in making this rivalry what it is, that those things won't be there? How does that affect those feelings?
I mean, I don't think they affect the feelings, because my feeling is try to play all the games like they were derbies. Obviously, I understand the situation. I understand the derbies. I've been in my whole teams. In all the teams that I've been playing, they have like important derbies, So I understand that, but like you explained it yourself as well with the circumstances. In my mind, for example, I tried to play my last match as well, like if it was a derby, like if it was my last game, I tried to do the best. I tried to do whatever I can and whatever I think is the best in that moment to help my team. So, I mean, obviously to speak about derbies right now in these circumstances is a little bit complicated. And even though we want to show to the people that obviously it's a derby, it's a Tráfico, they will love to be in the stadium supporting us and everything. It's a little bit complicated, to play without fans, without noise and everything. But I mean, it's a very important match for us because we need to get the win if we want to qualify, So, and it's against the LAFC, about the Tráfico, even though that Carlos is not here. I mean, yeah, it's a very important match, but it's a match. It's a football match. With these circumstances, we felt it already, so we know what is that about. And then, yeah, we're gonna go and give our best on Saturday, and then hopefully we can get our first 3 points and keep open our chances to qualify.
Next, we're going to go to Damian Calhoun. Damian, your line's unmuted.
Hey, Javier, how you doing?
Hi, good, you?
Good. Just, you're a couple of days past Monday's game. What positives can you take from that game, and how close do you think you guys are to finally getting everything together on the field to where you can get your 3 points?
I mean, the important thing is we need to get a win. In the last, even before the pandemic, we couldn't get the 3 points. I think that's what we want in soccer, in football. Sometimes you can be at top level and you don't get the results, and sometimes you are not on your 100% level, and then the results and everything comes along. So I think we need to get a win, and hopefully we can do it this Saturday, because I think this team needs it to get like a very good momentum, a very good rhythm, timing, and everything. So yeah, we're gonna try to do our best to get that, and then like I said, not to maintain our possibilities to qualify in this tournament is next Saturday. We want to win and then see what happens.
Next, we're going to go to a question from Jim Alexander. Jim, your line is unmuted.
Thanks. How you doing this morning? Afternoon, where you are.
Yeah.
Given the fact that you hadn't had a match in 4 months, now you're playing without fans, you're playing in the bubble, you're playing in basically a sweat box. How different is it right now compared to normal games, normal soccer?
Would you describe it already? I mean, I don't need to describe it. It's without fans, it's without noise, it's not in a stadium. In the times we're playing, because of the weather of Orlando, it needs to be very early, the kickoff or very late, So I mean, yeah, it's completely different. You need to be here to feel it in that way, but in words, how I can explain it's completely different. It's completely different. Obviously, it's like if you go and work in your office and there's no one there. You're yourself with a computer, or you're working by home like you. It's completely different. It's completely different, of course. But yeah, we're trying to do our best to make this tournament as good as possible, and we can entertain the people. They can watch soccer. They can enjoy the matches. But obviously, it's complicated. I mean, we don't need to hide that, and we don't need to lie about it. It's completely different. It's complicated, but we are trying to do our best. That's what is this about, that we're trying to do our best in these circumstances to try to deliver the best that we can, and then hopefully everyone is going to be happy and the results are going to be very positive. But if not, in our world, these times are a little bit crazy, a little bit different, and a little bit complicated.
Do you change your approach at all, given the
No.
conditions?
I mean, for some people or for us, in the circumstances that were like the normal circumstances, you can find more motivation, more things, but that depends on each player. You know, for me, I see the football match and I try to do my best and go for it. You know, it doesn't matter if it's with a lot of people or with less people, with a full stadium or with without even in a stadium. You know what I mean? My approach is try to give my best every training, every match, and then hopefully the results can come in a positive way.
Thanks. We have time for one more question in English. We're going to go now to Charlie Bohm. Charlie, your line is unmuted.
Javier, thanks for your time today. You mentioned the weight that after the other game last night or the other night that you have feel a weight or a pressure, and I wonder if you could explain a little bit about how you're approaching this challenge at this point in your career. How do you find the balance between intensity and sort of the flow and the balance that you want?
I mean, I laugh because I'm gonna repeat the same. You know, we're trying to do our best every single day. I mean, with or without pressure. I mean, it was complicated to play a match after 4 months. You know, and not only for me, even for another team, for another teammates, for all of us over here. So, I mean, we just need to be grateful that we can do what we love most. Or I mean, in my life, in my part, I love to play soccer, I love to play football. So I'm gonna try to do the best as I can every single day, and then adapt myself in any circumstances, you know, like the last question I described a little bit. So yeah, I mean, we're trying to do our best. We didn't get a positive result last match, and then hopefully on Saturday we can get our first victory, our first 3 points, and then I think that will help a lot the team and give us that kind of momentum, confidence, so we can keep going.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, everyone, we're going to move into questions in Spanish now. We're going to open with a question from Fernando Schwartz. Fernando, your line is unmuted.
Thank you, Chris. Gusto en saludarte, Javier. 2 preguntas. La primera, ¿por qué el Galaxy fue tan diferente en el segundo tiempo que en el primero y qué crees que hay que ajustarle al equipo?
Oh, Fer, pues tú sabes, a veces el partido así es. Puedes empezar muy bien y terminar muy mal, o viceversa, o puedes mantenerlo 90 minutos. Así es esto. La verdad, yo creo que también el rival cuando hizo el gol, el primer gol, trataron de nada más de manejar un poco más el resultado. Ya no se fueron tanto al ataque. Yo creo que trataron de manejar mejor el partido, y nosotros, bueno, tratamos de ir al frente porque queríamos buscar el empate, después la expulsión, después también ellos marcaron el otro gol. A fin de cuentas son las circunstancias del partido, y como equipo pues hay muchas cosas por mejorar, hay muchas cosas que se hicieron bien. Vamos a tratar de mostrarlas el sábado, esas cosas que hicimos bien, mantenerlas, y obviamente las negativas pues cambiarlas y mejorarlas.
Javier, ¿por qué crees que se polariza tanto tu imagen y sobre todo en los medios mexicanos? Que si fallas un penalti ya eres el peor, que si metes un gol ya eres el mejor. O sea que tu figura se ha polarizado demasiado, o para bien o para mal, como que no hay término medio en la crítica hacia ti.
Pues sí, pues hay que preguntarle eso a la gente y cada uno dirá su opinión.
All right, next we're going to go to a question from Fernando Ceballos. Fernando, your line is unmuted. Fernando, are you there? All right, we'll maybe try to come back to Fernando Ceballos. We're going to move on now to John Rojas. John, your line is unmuted now.
Thank you, Chris. Javier, can you hear me? ¿Me escuchas?
Sí, claro.
Javier, ya has revisado el partido, el video, lo que hayan trabajado con Guillermo y con el cuerpo técnico. ¿Cuál es el elemento que más tienen, se van a enfocar más para este enfrentamiento con el AFC? En modificar o en hacer, no sé si mejor o profundizar lo hecho bien, pero ¿qué elemento principal?
Que venga Guillermo, que él te responda esa pregunta. Yo como jugador y nosotros como jugadores estábamos recuperándonos después del partido. Yo creo que a partir de hoy empezaremos a hacer cuestiones tácticas y muchas cosas por mejorar, pero más que palabras, vamos a intentar mostrarlas el sábado y ojalá el resultado salga positivo, ¿no? Como lo dije también en la pregunta cuando Fer me preguntó de por qué el primer tiempo y por qué el segundo es, aunque el sábado, imagínate, puede pasar cualquier escenario, podemos jugar increíblemente y a lo mejor perdemos y a lo mejor podemos jugar de una manera no tan agradable, las cosas no salen, pero el resultado no sale positivo. Eso es el fútbol, es lo bonito de este deporte. Así que, bueno, lo único que sí está claro y que tenemos en nuestra mente es que queremos mejorar en todo, no nada más en una cosa o en un aspecto, sino en todo y ojalá lo podamos mostrar cada uno individualmente a favor del equipo. Yo creo que va a elevar el nivel futbolístico del equipo y podemos acercarnos a poder conseguir nuestra primera victoria.
Thanks. We're going to go back to Fernando Ceballos. Fernando, your line is unmuted. Can you try to speak?
Ahora sí, Javier, creo que me escuchas. Te mando un fuerte abrazo, gracias por tu tiempo. Preguntarte, ya lo decías en inglés, ¿no? Evidentemente la rivalidad del Galaxy y del AFC va más allá de la rivalidad de Chicharito-Vela, pero no sé si a ti sí te queda un sentimiento especial, si tenías ganas de enfrentarlo ya a Carlos directamente en un duelo tan importante como este.
Sí, obviamente es bonito el estar cerca de gente que estimas y que quieres mucho, ya sea jugando con ellos o jugando en contra. Obviamente, pues no se va a dar y es una pena no nada más para el tráfico, sino también para la liga. Sabemos que Carlos es el jugador más valioso y que le ha dado muchísimo en estos 2 años a esta liga para que crezca, para que tenga una mejor imagen a nivel mundial. Así que claro que es una pena no nada más para el tráfico, sino para toda la liga.
Awesome.
Y preguntarte, Javier, nada más, ¿sentiste que ya con el gol que marcaste la otra vez se te quita un poco esa presión que había de que te habían llegado pocos balones, que no había tenido tanta llegada? El equipo se vio mejor, te llegaron mucho más balones y por fin consigues tu primer gol en MLS.
Sí, a ver, que se me quite algo, no va a cambiar nada. Lo único es que, como bien tú lo dices, es algo no para mí, sino para el equipo. Da igual que el que esté al frente. Yo creo que el equipo ya mostró una idea ofensiva un poco más clara o al menos más elaborada y con muchísimas más oportunidades. Y bueno, y como bien te lo he dicho, el delantero es el primer defensa en todos los equipos que he estado. Todos los entrenadores tienen esa misma idea y también el primer delanteros desde el portero, ¿no? Así que todos aquí atacamos, todos defendemos, todos tenemos que mejorar muchísimo nuestro nivel individual, elevarlo para ponerlo al servicio del equipo y así yo creo que por consecuencia el equipo va a mejorar mucho.
Awesome. Thanks, Javier. That's all the time we have for him today. To get everyone else in the conference, we'll begin shortly with midfielder Sasha Kleshchen. And my apologies to the group if I am not able to get to a question from you. We have a number of media on and we're trying to keep it expedited for the players to keep their training schedule. But I do apologize if I'm not able to get to everyone's questions. Feel free to text me and we can work out something for additional availabilities or post-game availabilities as well. Awesome. We have LA Galaxy midfielder Sasha Kljestan here. Unfortunately, Sasha's mask is covering his beautiful mustache, but without being able to see that, we'll get started with some questions here. We're going to open up with LAGalaxy.com editor Adam Serrano. Adam, your line is unmuted.
Sasha, how you doing?
Good.
What can you take now, just as you look to decompress from the Portland game? What kind of positives can you take about the team's performance as you look to LAFC in a new challenge?
I'd say two things. I'd say for the most part of the game, we were pretty hard to play against, and we were, pretty organized defensively. I think the goals we end up giving up are a little bit soft on our part. So we've talked about being a little bit harder in certain moments, especially in the box. But I think for the most part, defensively, we limited their key players getting the ball in key spots. And the second thing was, I think we created more chances in this game than we did in probably our first two games combined. Unfortunately, we didn't finish any of those chances really, minus the goal from Chicharito at the end of the game. But for a positive thing, I think we created a lot of chances. So that's good for us going forward.
Thanks. Next, we're going to go to a question from Jeff Carlisle. Jeff, your line's unmuted.
Hey, Sasha, how are you?
Hi, Jeff.
Kind of along those lines of what you just talked about, a lot has been made about, the service into Chicharito and kind of, the passes you guys have been making in the attacking third, a lot of crosses. I mean, how do you think that's progressing? And, is there a chance that we might see you guys maybe tweak things this next game just to try to maybe create even more chances for Javier?
Well, I think things look different if you analyze the first two games of the season compared to the game against Portland. Obviously, tactically, we look a little bit different now. We're trying to get more guys in support of Chicharito, playing with Pavón a little bit closer to him for those two to combine, while trying to be a little bit more organized defensively. But yes, creating chances is obviously the most key aspect of the game. And getting the ball to Chicharito in spots where he can finish them off is a main goal of ours. I think we've been able to put more guys in the box now to help with crosses that we put in the box. And obviously, like I said, we created more chances in this game against Portland than we probably did in our first two games combined. So as long as we keep creating those chances, I have full confidence that Chicharito and Pavón are going to really put them away.
Next, we're going to go to a question from Giovanni Garcia. Gio, your line is unmuted.
Hi, Sasha. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Obviously, you guys got the big game against LAFC. LAFC have shown that you can not only can they score, but you can also score on them. What would you like to see from your midfield in order to be able to capitalize on those either mistakes or opportunities that come up?
Well, I think a big strength of their team is their midfield. So, limiting their time and space, limiting the opportunities they have to move the ball around and really control the game is very important. And then something very important, I think, is when the ball turns over or we win the ball in the midfield, that the first pass goes forward to exploit the space that they've left behind. Obviously, they push a lot of numbers into attack and they're very good with the ball. But when you have your opportunities, you have to play fast and play forward to use that space.
Awesome. We're going to wrap up with a question from Charlie Bone. Charlie, your line is unmuted.
Hey, Sasha, thanks for your time today. Does this feel like a rivalry game? Is it possible to replicate that experience and that intensity in this kind of in this situation you're in now?
I mean, I don't know yet because I guess right now we're just preparing for the game. We'll see what it's like on Saturday night. I think, the weather conditions play a big factor into these games down here. Obviously, the game has been a little bit slower than usual. The distance covered in the games has not been as high as usual, dealing with the heat and the humidity. So rivalry games are huge for the fans as well. And not having fans here, will take a little bit of atmosphere out of the game. But I don't think that the fire or the desire of the players will be at a lower level than usual. When you're playing a derby game, you're playing against your biggest rival, you have to give everything you have and even a little bit more. So I know that we have the Galaxy fans behind us at home. I know that they'll be supporting us and they'll be watching the game and cheering us on from home. So I'm excited to play my first Derby game. It'll be a little bit weird down here in Orlando, but it is what it is, and we're all trying to make the best of it right now.
Awesome. Thanks so much for your time, Sasha. That's all the time we have with LA Galaxy midfielder Sasha Kljestan. Next, we're going to bring in Galaxy midfielder Joe Corona. As mentioned, if you do have a question, feel free to use the hand raise feature or put in the chat to me that you would like to ask a question, or text me at 561-459-0025. The same format, we'll start with Joe in English before moving into questions with Spanish. Hey everyone, we have Galaxy midfielder Joe Corona with us. We're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to open with a question from Sophie, and forgive me if I butcher your last name, Sophie Nicolau.
You absolutely mastered it. Well done.
Great.
Awesome. Joe, I'd love to ask you a question that's not so much tactics and X's and O's related, but more human related, because I think one thing over the last 3 or 4 months, we're all experiencing similar things as humans. We're worried about the future. We're worried about the present. We have families. We have loved ones. And so from your perspective, as someone who's also trying to execute their professionalism and play their sport, can I just ask you from a human level, how have you coped with going into the tournament and also leaving your family behind, and what that means and feels to you right now?
I think it's like you said, I think we're going through very difficult times right now. Of course, it's not easy to leave your family behind and come and do your job under these circumstances. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think it's our job to be here as a team together. Of course, taking all the right precautions to stay safe. I think, I mean, I'm just happy to be back, be able to play again after so long, after so many months of just waiting. But of course, I think health is always first. And I mean, I'm just happy to be able to play again and be back. But I know it's hard under the circumstances right now, you know.
Awesome. Next, we're going to go to a question from Larry Morgan. Larry, your line should be unmuted.
Thanks, Chris. Hi, Joe.
Yep.
You know, I asked this question to Javier the other night if he was able to relax in this bubble, in this environment. Are you able to relax, like let your guard down? Are you feeling more comfortable as the tournament has gone on?
I think I mean, everyone's trying to, I mean, take the right steps to stay safe. I personally stay most of the time in my room. I mean, just the time that I have to go to training, have lunch with the team, do any team activities like training, going to the gym, and just trying to take it easy, you know, not be all over the place. So just that, you know, just trying to stay safe. I know here they're taking all the right steps to keep us that way. There's a lot of testing going on, which is good. So, I mean, I feel pretty safe, pretty good.
Thank you.
Awesome. We'll go with one more English question to Adam Serrano. Adam, your line is unmuted.
Hey, Joe. I wanted to ask you a little about playing against LAFC. Obviously, you're not going to have the fans there. Is that just going to be a little bit weird? Is it still going to be able to have, you know, the intensity of those past games? I know they've been some really testy matches on the field, but, without that atmosphere, is it gonna be missing a little something?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, especially in a derby like this, I think fans play such a huge role. They're so important because, I mean, that rivalry is huge, and of course the fans feel it. Just us, for us, going into a stadium, a full stadium with all the fans supporting us, and just that week going into that game, it's so big, for not only us but for the fans, and of course they play such an important role. It's a very different atmosphere right now going into this game, but I know the importance of it and that we have to win. So.
All right, we're going to go with one more quick English question from Damian Calhoun, just because he asked me politely. Damian?
Hey, Joe, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How does preparation change for you guys knowing that Carlos won't be there? I mean, if you look at their game Monday, they still scored 3 goals without him. So does preparation change, or do you guys just focus on, just preparing for whoever out there?
No, I think preparation is the same. Like I said, it's a very important game for us, especially now that we are basically obligated to win no matter what. And I think we're focused the same way. We're trained the same way because we know LAFC is a good team, and we're preparing the best way so that we can win on Saturday.
All right, we're going to move into Spanish questions now. We're going to open with a question in Spanish from Katia Castorena. Katia, your line's unmuted.
Thank you, Chris. Joe, gusto saludarte. En cuanto a cómo se vive este partido, sé que en la cancha habrá bastantes diferencias. No tienen ustedes a Jonah, ellos no tienen a Vela, ya no está Zlatan, será como una nueva era post lo que representó también Zlatan para este clásico y ahora con Chicharito. ¿Cómo esperas esto impacte lo que se va a ver en la cancha?
Sí, siento que es un ambiente totalmente diferente, a pesar de que es un clásico, como lo mencioné. Hay piezas importantes que no están. Obviamente, el ambiente que se vive en un estadio lleno con tu público, con tus seguidores, no está tampoco. Entonces, siento que todo eso influye, es un factor importante y más en un clásico. Pero a pesar de todo, sabemos de que tenemos que salir a ganar y a dejar todo en la cancha, ¿no?
Next, we're going to go to a question from Joaquín Mosquera. Joaquín?
Hola, Joe, ¿cómo estás?
Hola, hola.
El sábado se viene el clásico del tráfico, vos ya tenés experiencia jugándolo, y hoy justamente se juega otro clásico en el que tuviste experiencia, como una América Chivas. Quería preguntarte si crees que hay alguna similitud entre estos dos clásicos.
No, yo digo que, bueno, me tocó vivir los dos. La verdad que son grandes clásicos. Sí, hay mucha similitud porque se viven totalmente diferente a comparación de todos los otros partidos. El ambiente, obviamente sabemos que la historia entre una América Chivas es más larga, tiene mucho tiempo jugándose, y es grandísima, ¿no? Entonces aquí en LA es un clásico joven, o sea, un clásico que va creciendo cada vez más, cada año se pone más interesante. Para mí el año pasado fue mi primer clásico y se vivió con gran intensidad y la verdad que quedé impresionado, ¿no? Con el ambiente que existe alrededor de todo ese clásico. Entonces sé que es el clásico más grande de la MLS, ¿no? Y es el partido que todos están esperando.
All right, we have time for one more question in Spanish. We're going to go to Monica Delgado. Monica, your line should be unmuted momentarily.
Thank you, Chris. Hola, Joe. Te saluda Mónica Delgado. Quisiera saber por qué le está costando tanto a LA Galaxy conseguir buenos resultados. Tú ya tienes varios partidos vistiendo la playera del conjunto galáctico y quisiera saber puntualmente, ¿y tú qué crees que le está faltando a este equipo? Y más que se les viene este fin de semana un partido tan importante con LAFC.
No, yo digo que después de tanto tiempo sin jugar, podían pasar muchas cosas. El equipo se viene preparando bien, viene trabajando bien. Obviamente, el partido pasado siento que nos merecíamos la victoria. A mí me tocó verlo de fuera por una suspensión, pero al ver el equipo sé que está trabajando bien. Estamos tratando de seguir las instrucciones de Guillermo para sacar nuestro mejor potencial y te digo, tuvimos por ahí dos claras en el primer tiempo que pudieron cambiar el partido, pero seguir por ese mismo camino, ¿no? Seguir insistiendo a querer ganar, seguir trabajando y sé que los resultados van a llegar, ¿no? Es importante mantenernos con buen ánimo porque sabemos que venimos trabajando bien.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe. That's all the time we have for Joe today. We appreciate you taking the time. We'll go ahead and get started with LA Galaxy head coach Guillermo Barros-Schelotto momentarily. Thanks again, Joe.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, we have Galaxy head coach Guillermo Barros-Schelotto here. We're going to go ahead and get started in English for a couple questions before moving into Spanish. We'll open up here with Adam Serrano from LAGalaxy.com. Adam, your line is unmuted.
Guiche, how are you doing?
Hi, how are you?
I wanted to ask you about preparing for LAFC without Carlos Vela. You know, obviously he's so integral to everything that they do, but they still have a lot of other attacking talent. How are you looking at facing this team without Vela?
Just so we could see the last game with Houston, because in the almost all part of the last year, Vela was on the team. So obviously, it's no Vela there, we impact on the team. But they have even good players. Can play Brian Phillips or Demonde, and they can do it very well too. But obviously, we impact and his team. But we need to looking for, or we need to look our team. We need to get a little better than last game. And we need to looking forward to beat LFC. That is a point for us. I know it's very important. Vela is play on a play, but they had other players like Rodriguez, Rossi, or Ramfield, Damon, Janela, or Atuesta, whatever. They had really good team, but we need to be worried about LFC, not just to take advantage about is no Vela on the pitch.
All right, next we're going to go to a question from Larry Morgan. Larry, your line is unmuted.
Thanks, Chris. Good afternoon, Coach.
Hi, how are you?
Sasha was talking a few moments ago about some of the positives that the team could take out of the match against Portland. Besides the final score, obviously, what disappointed you the most about your team's performance in that match?
I think with the result. I think we know the third to lose against Portland. We play very organized during almost all 90 minutes. Just we give it two times for a score, and they use this time for scoring because maybe in the first half they managed the ball during the time in the first half. They never couldn't to get our target. Just when watch out from outside the box, and David had in control the ball always. And in the second half, we give them the possibility for a score twice, and they scored twice. But before, when we are tying, and the second half, we start to manage the ball much, and we could manage the ball well. Even we had two possibilities for a score very clear, like Chicha miss over the crossbar, and the other ones shot in the crossbar. But I think the more important thing now is to keep going forward. Don't stop it because we lost with Portland. We need to keep building the team, growing with the level, get on field, because for every team it's a lot. Then we have a big opportunity Saturday night with LFC to show what we can do. We can play, we can compete, we can beat LFC. I think the opportunity is so big.
All right, we have one more question in English. We're going to go back to Sophie Nicolau. Sophie, your line should be unmuted momentarily.
I can't hear.
Sophie, it looks like your line is still muted.
Sorry.
You should be good now.
Hi, Coach. How are you doing? Thank you, Chris.
Hi, how are you?
Good, very well, thank you. Hope you're keeping well and safe. And one of the pluses of the other night, and something to look forward to perhaps in the future for LA Galaxy, is Dunbar. For someone so young in a pressurized situation and a unique situation, he did so very well. I'm not going to ask you if you're going to start him at the weekend, but seeing how well he did and his adaptability, his maturity for someone so young, talk us through a little bit about what you think of his performance and how you can see his potential and his growth in this team.
Okay, I think Dunbar is a really good player. He's a typical winger. He's fast. He's young. He needs to learn a lot of things. Still, he had to keep working about how much better he can get. We saw him really good in the last 3 or 4 weeks training with us. Cuello get the hill in the last week before to come here, and maybe he missed almost 8 or 9 days. And then the opportunity for him was open without Cuello. We used it during the training before the game with Portland, and we saw really good. He's 17, but he looked like more mature. He needed time. He's not ready yet, but this is the kind of player. The games are really good to show or to see how he can do on the team. But I think will be very important player for the future. I think this is the moment to give the opportunity and to carry him, not just put on the field and whatever happened. Just check. Sometimes we need to carry him sitting in the bench or wait for the other opportunity. We need to go slow. He's very young. He's 17. But I think we got in the future, I don't know how, because sometimes it's short the time the player need to get on the team But I think in the next year we can have a really good player in front on like a win.
Awesome. We're going to move into questions in Spanish now. We're going to open up with a question from Smoochie from Mega 96.3 FM in Los Angeles. Smoochie, go ahead.
Guillermo, ¿me escuchas?
Sí, te escucho.
Guillermo, ¿cómo se preparan con diferentes técnicas mental, especialmente que entras a un partido que tienes que ganar con un equipo como LAFC?
Bueno, siempre uno entra a ganar el partido. Más allá del rival o de las situaciones, siempre estás preparado o te preparás para ganar el partido. En este caso, nos toca con el FC, que es un rival que tiene muy buenos jugadores, que ha tenido un gran año el año pasado, y que seguramente va a ser un rival duro, pero estamos listos y preparados para poder ganar.
All right, we're going to go to a question next from Katia Castorena. Katia, your line's unmuted.
Thank you, Chris. Guillermo, ¿qué tan distinto crees se va a ver este clásico? Si bien dos individualidades que han forjado esta corta historia del clásico, como fueron Zlatan con Galaxy y Vela con el AFC, ahora no van a estar. ¿Crees que empezará una nueva era? Ellos, además, siempre aparecían en el marcador. ¿Qué tan distinto crees será ahora esto en la cancha?
Y seguramente impactará la ausencia de ellos dos, pero hay otro jugador, también la ausencia de Jonas, para nosotros es muy importante. Pero está Chicharito, está Pavón de nuestro lado, está Rodríguez o Rossi del lado de ellos, y que también generan mucha expectativa y la posibilidad de muchos goles. Ojalá salga un partido abierto, entretenido, donde nosotros podamos imponernos, porque es para nosotros muy importante esta clase de partidos.
All right, next we're going to go to a question from Salvador Perez. Salvador, your line's unmuted.
¿Qué tal, Guillermo? ¿Cómo estás? Salvador Pérez de Gol en México. Espero estés muy bien. Oye, preguntarte, con la ausencia de Carlos Vela y con lo que se vivió en el partido pasado por la falla del penal que tuvo Javier Hernández y después el gol, y por todo el entorno que hay, ¿hoy sientes que quizás se le carga la mano en cuanto a presión a Javier Hernández con la ausencia de Carlos Vela en ese sentido?
Bueno, la verdad no es una pregunta para mí para analizar, porque yo debiera analizar lo que dice el periodismo en cuanto a Javier. La presión que tenemos los entrenadores, los jugadores, o en este caso Javier, es la que uno asume por la calidad de futbolista o la carrera que uno tiene detrás. Y es lógico que pase, ¿no? La verdad que a mí, cuando uno tomo decisiones deportivas como entrenador, no puedo analizar lo que piensa la gente o la presión que tiene uno, si va a ser un gol o no va a ser un gol. Por ejemplo, el otro día, en el entretiempo, yo le dije a Javier, si hay otro penal, lo pateás vos. A mí no analizo la presión a la hora de tomar una determinación. Todos sabemos que un poco más, un poco menos, todos tenemos presiones por ganar, por andar bien, porque el equipo juegue bien, porque el equipo gane, pero esas decisiones que uno toma para el bien del equipo o para el bien de la institución o para el bien del jugador no pueden estar influidas por el pensamiento o el qué dirán. En este caso, Javier tiene que hacer su partido, jugar su partido, tratar de hacer un gol, tratar de ayudar al equipo. Si hace un gol mejor, y si no hace un gol, que ayude al equipo para ganar, que ayude a jugar mejor a Pavón, que ayude a jugar mejor a Dunbar, al que le toque estar. Y desde mi lado no tengo más la exigencia como entrenador a un goleador de que haga lo mejor para el equipo.
All right, we have time for one more question. We're going to go to the final question with Fernando Schwartz. Fernando, your line is unmuted. You can go ahead.
Thank you, Chris. Guillermo, gusto en saludarte otra vez. Guillermo, una doble pregunta. ¿Qué es lo que le tienes que ajustar al equipo que dio dos caras muy diferentes en el partido contra Portland? Y tácticamente, ¿qué es lo que le estás pidiendo a Javier? Porque no lo vimos solamente dentro del área, como que lo vimos botándose mucho, incluso también a los costados o partiendo de muy atrás.
No, bueno, yo no lo vi así. Yo vi que Javier se movió en el frente de ataque con Pavón. De hecho, tuvo dos situaciones muy claras de gol, el cabezazo en el palo y la jugada que falla, toma la pelota sobre el punto penal, entonces me parece que estuvo sobre la... Y el gol que hace, lo hace dentro del área, así que me parece que siempre el equipo lo trata de buscar, la indicación es que esté en el área. A veces el fútbol es dinámico y al tener un compañero como Pavón al lado, uno de los dos puede lanzarse hacia los costados y salir, pero no lo hace como sistema, sino como parte de la dinámica del juego que te va llevando a ese lugar. Con respecto al partido con Portland, tampoco estoy de acuerdo. Yo creo que no merecimos perder. Yo creo que jugamos muy bien defensivamente el primer tiempo, sin profundidad. Portland tampoco tuvo profundidad. De hecho, no tuvo ninguna situación de gol y en el segundo tiempo nosotros manejamos la pelota y tuvimos 3 situaciones claras de gol, como fueron el gol de Javier, el tiro en el palo y la que también Javier pierde, que toma sobre el punto penal. Y el rival nunca nos generó ninguna situación de gol. Las únicas situaciones de gol que fueron un centro, el rebote, les queda y se genera situación de gol, donde nosotros fallamos defensivamente y lo mismo el segundo gol. Así que me parece que no hemos jugado un gran partido, pero tampoco en el análisis de los 90 minutos me parece que fue muy injusta la derrota y sacaron provecho de los 2 errores que cometimos defensivamente, nada más. El análisis que uno hace posterior a esto es, tenemos que ser más fuertes en la defensa y seguir intentando, porque nosotros vamos a generar situaciones de gol, de hecho la generamos y vamos a ir creciendo. Hay que tener en cuenta, tuvimos la ausencia de Jonas, que es un jugador muy importante, la ausencia de Catay, que ya dejó el club, y bueno, también tanto tiempo sin jugar te genera incertidumbres, incluso no tuvimos ni partidos preparatorios, así no lo vi tan mal o como vos lo describís.
Awesome. Thanks, Guillermo. Thanks everyone for taking the time. That's all we have for today. As mentioned, we have recorded this entire availability. We'll send that out to media. But we very much appreciate you guys joining the call. I apologize if I was not able to get to everyone's questions or their follow-up questions. We try to keep it on a schedule for all the teams using the Media Hub in Orlando. Please feel free to reach out to myself, Vicky Mercado, or Brendan Hannon, who's with the team on the ground in Orlando if you need anything. We look forward to seeing you all again Saturday. I will send out the links to join post-game media availability for Saturday evening's match, which will begin shortly after the conclusion of that game against LAFC. So thanks again, everyone. We really appreciate you taking the time to join, and please let us know if you need anything additional. Bye, everyone.